between Siddharth Vishwanathan and Siddharth Gulati, the two namesakes that are there in sports today. And obviously, the discussion point is going to be between the fact that whether Virat Kohli should continue in Test cricket or he should take Test retirement. Well, the report that's currently coming in is that Kohli has conveyed his decision to the BCCI, but then the Indian Cricket Board has urged him to reconsider his decision. And more importantly, there's a breaking news that we had, in the last few minutes or so, that India and Pakistan have agreed to ceasefire, which could mean that IPL could resume, next week or so. Whether it's going to happen or not, well, that remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, that the next 10, 15 or 20 minutes or whatever time that we are going to be here, there is going to be a debate that will happen on the two topics that have been just mentioned.
I mean, what a day. At 5:45, we got the tweet from US President Donald Trump that India and Pakistan have agreed to a ceasefire. Now, amidst all of this, when you look at the situation, the IPL was suspended for 1 week. That means from the time the Delhi Capitals and Punjab Kings game was suspended. No, the mic is on. Mic number 1 is on. Is there any issues?
You continue.
You continue. Yeah. So, okay. So, can you hear me now, Pawan? Can the world hear me now? Okay. So, what has happened is, Donald Trump, the US president, gave a tweet at 5:45 p.m. Ceasefire agreed upon by India and Pakistan. Now, what this means is there will be a de-escalation on the Western Front. It's just a ceasefire, let me tell you. So, on 12th of May, anything can happen. 12th of May, both sides are meeting. Only on the military front, there has been a ceasefire. So that means it's good news for the IPL, because they can resume within 1 week. The main concern, the main bone of contention was that IPL needed to begin if there is a de-escalation.
Yeah.
So there were earlier reports that if it doesn't happen, can the BCCI look at options like holding it in Kolkata, holding it entirely down south? Can they host it all the other games that they hosted in the UAE? All that now might be put in the back burner. What could happen is, the game that didn't happen, Delhi Capitals versus Punjab Kings, you may not even have a change of venue. It might happen along the same lines. Your IPL might resume by next week. Might. And your final, instead of 25th May, could be pushed to June 1. Maybe that could happen, because the broadcasters are not too keen on having double headers on a multiple amount of
And
days.
obviously, we'll get to the reasons of that, but this is where the first big question comes of the debate here. And obviously, you can chip in with your thoughts in the comment section. We would love to take them, as the discussion progresses. The first point here, that should IPL resume next week, after what we have known is that India and Pakistan have agreed to ceasefire with the interference of the US here. So my point here is that I'm going to put forward is that it should happen. So one of the most important things as to why the IPL was stopped or halted was because there was a lot of firing and there was a lot of cross-border tension between the two neighboring countries, and that's why the game between Punjab Kings and Delhi Capitals had to be stopped midway, and that's why the IPL had also been suspended for 1 week. But now that it is ceasefire, and more likely there aren't really going to be any major security concerns, and for the overseas players to make a comeback to India wouldn't really be much of a problem, because the air flight travel would not really be that big a concern. Why not resume IPL in May itself? And I'll tell you why it should happen. Because if security is not really a concern, better to resume it from next week. Why I say it so? It's because you might still have a couple of, clean windows in August and September. Assuming India don't really travel to Bangladesh because of the political tensions in the neighboring country there, you would still have some window in August. In September, there are still dark clouds hovering over Asia Cup. So you would also have some clean window in September too. But the point there is that Indian players would still be free to take part in the remainder of the IPL. But would the overseas players be free? No, that's not really going to be the case. There's going to be another tournament there, the 100. Australia, South Africa are going to feature in a bilateral series, and so is going to be the case with the other countries too. So if security is not a concern, there is obviously ceasefire. More than likely, there aren't really going to be much cross-border tension between the two neighboring countries here. Why not resume the IPL next week? Make sure that all the 10 teams are at their full strength, and they would want to finish the tournament on a high.
Practically, see, this is what's going to happen. Okay, what you said, point by point, that is what is going to happen. Okay, because yes, the security deterrent isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, number one. So your western front is secure. You're not going to have any tensions. Anyway, there were only going to be 2-3 games held in the north. The problem areas are looking at Dharamshala, Delhi, and Jaipur. Okay. Yes, Rajasthan, Jodhpur, when you look at all those places, Bikaner and all those places, there was a heavy red alert there. But now that security threat is gone, after 72 hours of non-stop strikes that were happening. But there is a bigger concern, even now, because you said something about overseas players, right? Now with this 1 week delay, you have basically ensured that Australia and South Africa players are very vulnerable. Why is that? There is a World Test Championship final. Now, if you want your South Africa players and your Australia players, you expect them to play until June 1, supposing if any of them makes it to the knockout. Supposing. SRH won't make it, because Travis Head and Pat Cummins, they will mostly likely stay back. But then SRH have a problem. Who will be their captain? Cummins is obliged because of the financial clout that he has to play. What about Travis Head? Mitchell Stark, Josh Hazelwood, and I'm pretty much sure RCB might reach the knockouts and they might go all the way. What happens to Hazelwood? What happens to a Stark? Delhi Capitals are also in the fray, by the way. Let's not forget. Your Australia and South Africa. South Africa, when you look at it, most of them are not playing the IPL. I don't think many are. You've got the bowler, I mean, except for Kagiso Rabada.
There's going to be Aiden Markram, but more than likely LSG won't qualify.
LSG won't qualify. There's Kagiso Rabada, who's
Ryan Rickelton also.
Ryan Rickelton.
But I think in that case, Kyle Verreynne would be their first choice wicket-keeper batter. So Ryan Rickelton would more than likely be a part of their 15.
You've still got a logistical issue. You've still got a logistical issue because the Aussies have gone back. After 1 week, are you going to get them? The South Africans have gone back. Are you going to get them?
I don't think that's really going to be a problem. You would not really have a problem calling back the players from UK and Australia. It just takes maybe one or at max, 2 flights to reach India. That should not be a problem at all. It is even a less than a one-day travel. Why not return back now?
But the fatigue factor that will be there. The fatigue factor for the players, and to ensure, okay, stop-start kind of an IPL, a beach of a rhythm breaker in that sense. You would want to dent your confidence heading into WTC, but forget a WTC. I mean, as of now, it is only a ceasefire. It is not as if your neighboring state has surrendered or is ready to drop arms.
See, as much as I agree that the situation should be monitored for the next couple of days or at least 2-3 days, but I think if there is no fire at all or there is no tension whatsoever at the border, why not resume it as of now? Why do you really have to wait until August and September, wherein you know that most of the overseas players won't really be available for this tournament because of their international duties, and at the very same time, if they're not there, you would take the juice out of the whole tournament?
See, even now you're risking that. Even now you're risking it, because unless Australia have agreed, okay, let's play the IPL, what's the big deal in it? Unless they agree to it, then I think it sorts itself out. But even see, I don't think if it's happening in August or September, okay, only England's players have a problem in August because the 100 is going to happen, okay. But now the 100 also has Indian franchisees that have got a stake in it, isn't it? Instead, what will happen? A domino effect is, if they play in August, your Bangladesh tour gets pushed ahead and your Asia Cup is cancelled. But now with this ceasefire and looking at all the things, I have seen too much of cricket and I've seen the entire bit of how fans react. India versus Pakistan might very well happen. India versus Bangladesh might very well happen.
Was it ever in doubt?
It was never in doubt.
I don't think so. See, India versus Bangladesh is a different scenario altogether. It's a different series. We'll come to that later. But India versus Pakistan in ICC tournaments, was it ever a doubt even when there was this firings going on?
It's
I don't
never
think so.
in doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is why your Asia Cup is also going to happen in a neutral venue. Which is why, technically when you look at it, I'm going against my own thing because I don't believe that there'll be a window in August and September. They will have to play it now because I think they will see that there is no window. Unless the government has pulled up its thing that, okay, it's going to happen. But I feel technically, if you want to show some compassion for the players, and if you want to ensure that you send a direct message to nations that are hostile to you, don't play the Asia Cup, don't play Bangladesh. What will happen with that is after August first week, you have a break of 2 months.
Yeah.
You can play the IPL amidst all of that.
No, but the point is, if a thing that can be done now, why do you have to push it to 2 months later? That's the point.
Again, see, what will happen is it's an irritant, but it's a minimum irritant. If you extend until June 1, what happens to the players who are supposed to go for the A Tour? Now, they will also have to delay, the ECB will also have to delay their A team squads. I mean, most of the guys will be in the A Tour, which is why I think everything then gets pushed back rather than having some form of convenient window at this point in time. But see, I am in the minority here. I don't think that the IPL with this kind of move that has happened will be played in August and September. But this is honestly my opinion about this, because you have to send a message.
Okay.
You have to send a message across that, okay, now our troops are still in a face-off. The guns are not firing. The thing is, I'll give you a classic example. Israel-Gaza currently is under a ceasefire. But has the killing stopped? Has the shelling stopped? No, it hasn't. There are skirmishes every day. And let me tell you one more thing. There will be skirmishes along the LOC. Not now, not in the next 1-2 days, because there's too much focus on this. Maybe in the next 1-2 weeks. Could happen. If your IPL can take a back seat for some time until this particular situation just cools down, then I think it's worth playing in August and September. You can make arrangements for the other teams. You can make arrangements for the other players. You're supposed to be the financial superpower, right? But I know how India's profiteering enterprise works. Profiteers at this point in time will want to ensure that you do the IPL under the guard that we can't keep it under any other time. You will play Bangladesh, you will play Pakistan. That is how profiteering and this thing will happen. So yes, your point, what you said right from the very beginning, that this is going to happen, tuck. Most likely, remember this, at this particular time he said it, Siddharth Gulati's thing will happen. But I honestly believe that you shouldn't start it out of, if you truly want the respect, don't play the IPL. At this point, play it somewhere when there is total peace. But I know that total peace is not possible. You've got a renegade state next to you, so it won't be possible. So yes,
I'll go back to that quote of the BCCI source, and I think even Nikhil also quoted that thing yesterday, that watch out for the next 3 days. Maybe, they knew something that obviously
they knew something which we didn't know. So that is why I am only saying one thing here. See, this has got nothing to do with me being against the IPL or me being against any franchise.
No, that's fine. We all can have a difference of opinion, but the point is that I am of the belief that IPL should resume next week, assuming, everything stays fine for the next 2-3 days. You are saying it should not happen for the utter respect of it.
Utter respect, and also I don't trust a Pakistan living up to its word. The nation that has been near us, they've never lived up to their word. Never. An IPL is just a small target. What has happened to the PSL and the IPL is very, very small fry compared to what's happened on the bigger world stage. However, I only wish that, okay, your troops fought the enemy back, but there has been massive damage in Poonch. There has been massive damage in Rajouri. Civilians, soldiers have died in the shelling that's happened in these 3 days. Everybody will say that there's a ceasefire. People are rejoicing. But there has been, even, there's not a propaganda that I am mentioning. Omar Abdullah, the Honorable Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, has mentioned that there is huge devastation in Poonch. There is huge devastation in Rajouri. Amidst all of that, you want cricket to continue in all of this. Do you think that you should be with your countrymen? My good countrymen at this point in time. Why do you want to play? People anyway, their memories are short. They will use the IPL as an excuse. Oh, we want cricket. We want RCB to do well. We want CSK to finish at the bottom. We want MI to have a resurgence. We want KKR to have a resurgence. We want DC to make it to the final. Cricket is the opium of everything. It worked for COVID. It won't work in the India-Pakistan tension. I'm sorry. If you begin the IPL now, you are disrespecting the people who lost their lives in Poonch, Rajouri. You're disrespecting the armed forces because it's not a peace treaty. It's just a ceasefire. So you're continuously like waiting. Who's going to play Russian roulette? And then when I'm pretty much sure that Pakistan is going to make some kind of ceasefire, as I say, ceasefire ka ullangan, or they'll breach the ceasefire, then I will see how these same people have a leg to stand on once the IPL starts.
Okay. Let's move on. Clearly, there's a difference of opinion here.
Yeah.
But the second part of this discussion, and before we, take comments of the whole thing, should Virat Kohli, Virat Kohli make that big decision? Well, remember, there's a report that came out today morning that he has conveyed his decision to retire from Test format to the selectors, but then the BCCI selectors have actually urged him to reconsider his decision because his experience would be required in the England conditions. Once again, we pose the big question to you, and I pose it to Siddharth, that should he or will Virat Kohli, take that big decision? It's basically a little ironical here also, because Siddharth and I have been of the opinion that Virat Kohli should actually not be picked in the Test format, because of the form that he has had in the last 5 years or so, and it hasn't really been encouraging apart from his exploits in 2023, wherein he did well in that Ahmedabad test against Australia, the West Indies away series. In the South African series, he was probably, India's best batter in the 2-test series that was drawn 1-1. But apart from that, nothing to show at all. There was a Perth 100, but then apart from that, BGT was an utter failure for Kohli here. Even I have said this thing, that he should not play. Or he should not be picked for that matter. But I think it's about the fact that it's now maybe the reality is very close to becoming true. And when it's happening with me, maybe that thought of Kohli not featuring in the whites, it's kind of a little scary. And I'm going to be very honest when I say this thing, it's a little scary, because you've just had Rohit Sharma, who has called it quits from the Test format. And I think maybe that was coming, despite all the hints that he had given in that Michael Clark podcast, that he's probably looking forward to leading the attack of Bumrah, Shami and Siraj. But for Kohli to go just ahead of the England tour, I think it's a little scary, because if it happens, you would have a total new team, a new captain. You're not really sure whether Bumrah is going to play all the 5 matches or not. So I think that puts a lot of pressure on the new captain and maybe the management and maybe someone like a Gautam Gambhir, that if he goes with a new team, it's going to be even bigger pressure on him. You lost to New Zealand at home. Your 12-year streak at home was actually broken by an average New Zealand side who punched above their weight. You were completely thrashed in the BGT apart from the Perth test. Would you want to take the risk of going to England without Virat Kohli? This is where maybe it's not a change of heart, or it's not really anything else. But I think India would want Kohli in this, and I really hope that he reconsiders his decision.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the 2 series, right?
Yeah.
New Zealand and Australia.
BGT, yeah.
Were Virat and Rohit part of both? Yes. Did they set the stage on absolute fire? No, they didn't. Both scored less than 100. Both had very mediocre BGTs.
Yeah.
Rohit had the absolute mediocre BGT that one could ever imagine. I mean, Bumrah took more wickets than Rohit scored runs. Virat, after that 100, became a walking wicket. Unfortunately, I have to say this. See, again, let me from the outset make it clear, I have nothing against Virat Kohli. Please. The intolerant mood that is there in this nation, if I say something factual, people say that I'm a hater or there is a PR thing that's going on.
No, it's already been said in the dugout, not just by you, me, and it's probably been said by the other people also, that selectors might just want to look past him. But now that was basically the thing when you lost the BGT. Things are obviously changing. Rohit has already retired. Can you afford to lose another experienced campaigner ahead of a England?
When will you begin the transition? You are in the beginning of a new cycle in the WTC. You got 2 years. Firstly, it is not a certified birthright that, okay, I got some stat, I don't remember who pointed that stat out, that no India number 3 has retired before the age of 38. It just can't happen. Okay, I got that as stat. Now, Virat is 36. The high intensity with which he plays, I'm pretty much sure he can't sustain himself in 2 or 3 formats for a very long time. He's already retired on a high from T20 ice. If he once again goes to England, and there is a clip that's been shared by the Barmy Army of all the England bowlers doing well in the county system where they're uprooting stumps, getting rid of batters. But I honestly don't believe in the England county system now. It is a failed system. It's not generating the players that it used to be. Your conditions have changed. England, if they want to self-troll themselves, they can self-troll themselves. I don't believe much in their attack anyways. But Australia showed something deeper. The slump that was there for 5 years, barring one season, it is not a fluke.
Yeah.
Virat in red ball cricket never recovered. He recovered brilliantly in white ball cricket. Yes, he's a white ball legend without any doubt. He will be amongst the Fab Four that you've created. It's always Virat, Kohli and the rest of the three. Such is his dominance. White ball dominance, there will never be anybody like Virat Kohli. But Test cricket, I'm sorry, he is mortal. He reached a peak of 55.46 when he scored 254 against South Africa. After that, the slump that has happened, he's lost 10 points in his average. He's now 46. He has an average of only 50. Where? In India only. Everywhere else it's dipped to below 50. Now, in England, he averages 33.2. But it's punctuated by only one major series that he had in 2018. 589.
Because 2014 was an utter disaster.
134
and 2021 was pretty average.
250s that he hit there. Okay, 250s that he hit in 2021. But even now, see, Virat in Test cricket, even when he was there, India was still not setting the stage on fire. Sure, they were winning series. But in Test cricket, when you look at Virat, he never set the stage on fire for the last 5 years. Virat as a captain did brilliantly, but even there, he had his certain dark moments. He didn't win the series in England. Of course, he gave them the lead 2-1. One in Australia, that is the only shining legacy to his brilliance.
Gave away 2 brilliant opportunities to win in South
Africa. You didn't win in New Zealand, you were whitewashed there as well. So, there is a dark undercurrent to even Virat Kohli, the captain in Test cricket. But he told you how to win overseas consistently. But Virat Kohli, the captain, doesn't inspire me. Virat Kohli, the batter, doesn't inspire me any confidence in Test cricket anymore. We don't mix white ball and red ball, and there is a clear-cut demarcation. Virat in white ball cricket, legendary, but in red ball, he is really, he's got issues. Virat has major issues in red ball cricket, and Test cricket is such, you cannot overcome it. It takes years. Dravid couldn't do it. Ganguly couldn't do it. Tendulkar also couldn't do it.
In case of Dravid, Siddharth mentions a great example, and maybe then we can get to the comment section. In 2011, he had a brilliant tour of England, scored multiple hundreds, but in Australia, his weakness was found out because there was a large gap between his bat and pad, and he was consistently, getting bowled out. The ball was crashing through the gate, and he was getting bowled. So when asked later that, wouldn't you have maybe taken some time and overcome this weakness? He said that, at my age, it's not really possible. In case of Kohli, the clear weakness of poking his bat outside off stump, that indiscipline or maybe things not really going in the mind, I think that's probably become too much. At this age, with this kind of fitness, it's still possible. But maybe what Siddharth clearly is saying here is that with the kind of current form that Kohli has shown, he does not deserve a place in this, 11, and probably he should call it quits. But on the other hand, what I feel is that even, in the previous duckouts, I've said that, it should be the end of Kohli. But overall, with the thought that, already your one senior player has retired, can you afford another senior player to call it quits before an England tour?
You have to have the
For me, it's
transition
a no.
soon.
Yeah, for me,
because
it's a no.
After Border Gavaskar Trophy, when India had to play New Zealand after 2012, Dravid and Lakshman both retired. You still did well. You have a belief in the younger generation. If not now, then when? You've got a KL Rahul, you've got a Shubman Gill, you've got a Yashasvi Jaiswal, you have a Rishabh Pant, you have a Dhruv Jurel, you have a Nitish Reddy. Your bowlers are good in Prasidh Krishna, Mohammad Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah. You have actually left the team in very safe hands. With Rohit's departure and with Virat Kohli going, it won't make much of a difference to the Indian team.
Yeah.
You will get in fresher players. You'll get in players with a fresh outlook. And remember, people who get out in the same context, in the same way, over and over again, they don't recover. Just ask a Dravid, just ask a Tendulkar. He would get bowled often, Tendulkar towards the fag end. Dravid would get bowled most often. Kohli poking outside off. He never recovered. He can't recover now. And that is why, what if one series in England, what difference will it make? Anyways, I don't see Virat playing 2 formats until 2027. Everybody cites fitness. Virat was supremely fit for 3-4 years. Where were the runs? Just having alpha male fitness doesn't guarantee you. If that was the case, bodybuilders should be there in the Indian cricket team.
I completely get that. The only point here is that you always expect a player of Kohli's reputation to bounce back with some kind of a massive knocks. And maybe the England tour might just be the right opportunity and the right platform for him. But having said that, even Siddharth also makes a point that maybe it's the time for him to call it quits and just focus on one format. So let's see what happens. I'm of the opinion that India should continue with him, or he should be urged to stay back. On the other hand, Siddharth is of the opinion that Kohli should call it quits. You let us know in your thoughts in the comments section, and let's take a few comments here.
Yep.
Mohit is saying, will IPL resume from PBKS versus DC or RCB versus LSG? I think
and
there's
if PBKS was DC, then 121 for 0?
Yeah, there's no confirmation, but more than likely what we can tell you is that it'll begin from the Punjab Kings versus DC game from the scratch.
From scratch, yes. I think it will happen at the same venue. Looking at, I don't think, because if you've got a ceasefire, I don't think there is really going to be that kind of problem. So I think your venues will remain the same. Most likely, I think, instead of 25th May, you might play a final on June 1.
Yeah, because that's going to be another Sunday, and that would still be okay. What it would also do is that maybe give lesser time to the likes of Australian, South African players ahead of WTC final, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Vaibhav Taragi saying, a maestro like Kohli retiring without reaching 10k run red ball gonna haunt us time and time again. But that's sport for you, ruthless. The bigger they were, the mightier they fall. And Virat's slump in test cricket, it was really, really a problem. And it was painful to see. Honestly, it was very, very painful to see. Either he was getting LBW, or he was getting bowled, or he was getting caught. I mean, look at that game in the Ranji Trophy. Came down and then
Himanshu Sangwan.
Inside middle stump goes rocking. So that's the thing.
S. Narayanan has a comment that if a senior player, if having senior player is the challenge, then India could get in Pujara, Rahane. See, maybe this is the right time to, look ahead or maybe look into the future. But if either of the both, if we have to talk about if any of the one could make it from Pujara or Rahane, then I think Rahane looks to be the better batter as of now because of his form that he has shown not just in T20 cricket but in the Ranji Trophy too.
Yep.
Ami347 has a comment that let him play domestic red ball matches. If he regains his form, then select. Otherwise, where does he play those domestic matches? Do you send him for the India A tour of England? Not really sure, because if IPL resumes next week, then RCB would want him. And if that is the case, then he wouldn't really have time to play those India A matches. And any which ways, there aren't really more red ball matches scheduled in the county circuit also ahead of the England tour. So I don't think Kohli has the time to get back to domestic cricket and get back into form.
Yep. So Anand Jangir asks, why you're talking about Kohli retirement? Because he has requested. I mean, there are reports showing that he doesn't want to play test cricket. He wants to move on from test cricket. And that is why this is the thing that's going on. And Deep Singh Jat, why Virat was not thinking of 10k historic milestone 100 hundreds? Time, yaar. Time, that is the problem. It doesn't stop for anybody. And that is why Scoring 10k runs is not like a video game. You can't play test cricket in that sense. Nobody gets to 10,000 runs very, very easily. I mean, look at it. Lakshman never made to 10,000 runs. Ganguly never made it to 10,000 test runs. Only Sachin and Dravid made. Sehwag and Gambhir also didn't make it to 10,000 test runs.
Exactly.
Not everybody can get to 10,000 runs. So that is why it's a big problem that you're facing. So I think we can call it at a day. Diven say, I think it will start from scratch all over again. So that is the thing when you're looking at it. So yep, I think yes, Sarachan, I think there is a lag at your end. I don't think we have no lag at our end, na Pawan? Okay. So
I think that's about
it. So yes, it was good. Today has been a very historic day when you look at it. It's been a very epic day. There is no, you're going to have a ceasefire for all those people in the border areas. It's really a big sigh of relief. But yes, there has been collateral damage in Poonch. There has been collateral damage in some areas of Jammu. We hope that the people can recover there also. So I hope that we can get back to a bit of a normal. But with a renegade nation nearby us, it looks very highly unlikely. So thank you so much, folks, from me and Sid Gulati. Hope you enjoyed the debate. Tap that bell icon so that when we go live, and don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Bye-bye.